Welcome to the Book of Wretch, where stories of the macabre and supernatural are told. We ask all of the lost, the damned, and everything in between to join us for yet another spine-chilling tale. With that said, let's begin. Little Timmy Hernandez turned 10 years old today. However, this birthday was quite uneventful than it usually is. Timmy's mother, Catalina, has been missing for 3 months, and no one has any idea where she disappeared. Catalina was a single mother who took care of Timmy all by herself since he was 2. Ever since her disappearance 3 months ago, Timmy's father, Rolando, has taken custody of him until his mother was found. Timmy barely knew his father, just as Rolando barely knew his son. Rolando was a suspect for a point in time for Catalina's sudden disappearance since he was her ex. They were never married. There were no divorce papers, which also means there were no written details about why they broke up. So the police had no choice but to believe Rolando's reasoning as to why they broke up and why he had to abandon his son. I had to leave my wife and son behind because I was not fit to be a father. But now I believe I am, is what he told the police. Even though many of Catalina's family members believed that was far from the truth. Many applaud Catalina for working 2 jobs and taking care of Timmy without any form of child support from Rolando. She would even muster the energy to not only cook every single day for him, but also read him his favorite bedtime story called Night Night. Night Night was a Christian story about how Noah would say goodnight to every animal in his ark, and at the end of the book, Catalina would add to it and say, "And Noah says night night to you too, Timmy." She read that story to him every single night of his life. But when he was with Rolando, he refused to read it. Every time Timmy asked him to, he would get visibly upset and yell at him to stop asking. It was his 10th birthday today, yet his father still didn't read him that bedtime story. He laid there in darkness, with only the moonlight gleaming through his window, crying and wishing that his mom would come home. Timmy shut his eyes and began to hear chains and what sounded like screaming coming from underneath him. The ground then began to shake, and Timmy let out a loud scream. Everything came to a silent halt. Timmy got out of bed and opened his bedroom door, only to be surprised by his father standing there. "Why are you out of bed, Timmy?" his father said calmly. "I thought I heard screaming, and the floor started to shake and—" "Shh. Quiet, Timmy. Go back to bed. You had only but a nightmare. You'll be asleep very soon." Timmy still felt uneasy about the whole situation, but began to try and fall back asleep. A few hours go by, and Timmy is woken up by heavy footsteps he can hear coming up from the basement. He begins to feel frightened again, until suddenly the footsteps stop, right outside his bedroom door. A few seconds of silence commences, and absolutely nothing can be heard. His door then suddenly opens, but he can't see anything in the doorway besides darkness. A few hooded figures in all black walked into the room and surrounded Timmy's bed. Two figures stood at the foot of the bed, as one of them took off their hood and revealed themselves to be Rolando. His eyes were all black, and he had this eerie smile on his face. Rolando then slowly took the hood off the person next to him, and only then did Timmy refuse to believe what he was seeing. He began to think his eyes were deceiving him, as he saw his supposedly missing mother standing there with eyes as white as milk and a demonic smile with teeth as sharp as razors. A strong gust of wind passed by and removed the hoods from the rest of the hooded figures, only to expose that they had no head. Timmy began to cry and back up to the head of the bed, hoping this was only a nightmare. The figures then raised a sacrificial knife in the air ready to strike, as both Rolando and Catalina said in unison, "Night, night, Timmy." So until next time, I hope you join us when we open the Book of Wretch yet again. But remember, be careful when you enter the mind of a wretched. You may just leave a wretch. Good night and pleasant nightmares.